Guests of the Nation, Part 3. I don't know how we got through that day, but I was very glad when it was over. The tea things were cleared away, and Belcher said in his peaceable way, "Well, chums, what about it?" We sat round the table and Hawkins took out the cards, and just then I heard Jeremiah Donovan's footstep on the path, and a dark presentiment crossed my mind. I rose from the table and caught him before he reached the door. "What do you want?" I asked. "I want those two soldier friends of yours," he said, getting red. "Is that the way, Jeremiah Donovan?" I asked. "That's the way. There were 4 of our lads shot this morning, one of them a boy of 16. "That's bad," I said. At that moment Noble followed me out, and the 3 of us walked down the path together, talking in whispers. Feeney, the local intelligence officer, was standing by the gate. "What are you going to do about it?" I asked Jeremiah Donovan. "I want you and Noble to get them out. Tell them they're being shifted again. That'll be the quietest way." "Leave me out of that," says Noble under his breath. Jeremiah Donovan looks at him hard. "All right," he says. "You and Feeney get a few tools from the shed and dig a hole by the far end of the bog. Bonaparte and myself will be after you. Don't let anyone see you with the tools. I wouldn't like it to go beyond ourselves." We saw Feeney and Noble go round to the shed and went in ourselves. I left Jeremiah Donovan to do the explanation. He told them that he had orders to send them back to the 2nd Battalion. Hawkins let out a mouthful of curses, and you could see that though Belcher didn't say anything, he was a bit upset too. The old woman was for having them stay in spite of us, and she didn't stop advising them until Jeremiah Donovan lost his temper and turned on her. He had a nasty temper, I noticed. It was pitch dark in the cottage by this time, but no one thought of lighting the lamp, and in the darkness the 2 Englishmen fetched their top coats and said goodbye to the old woman. "Just as a man makes a home of a bleeding place, some bastard at headquarters thinks you're too cushy and shunts you off," says Hawkins, shaking her hand. "1,000 thanks, madam," says Belcher. "1,000 thanks for everything," as though he'd made it up. We went round to the back of the house and down towards the bog. It was only then that Jeremiah Donovan told them. He was shaking with excitement. "There were 4 of our fellows shot in Cork this morning, and now you're to be shot as a reprisal." "What are you talking about?" snapped Hawkins. "It's bad enough being mucked about as we are without having to put up with your funny jokes." "It isn't a joke," says Donovan. "I'm sorry, Hawkins, but it's true," and begins on the usual rigmarole about duty and how unpleasant it is. I never noticed that people who talk a lot about duty find it much of a trouble to them. "Oh, cut it out," says Hawkins. "Ask Bonaparte," says Donovan, seeing that Hawkins isn't taking him seriously. "Isn't it true, Bonaparte?" "It is," I say, and Hawkins stops. "Ah, for Christ's sake, chum." "I mean it, chum," I say. "You don't sound as if you mean it." If he doesn't mean it, I do," says Donovan, working himself up. "What have you against me, Jeremiah Donovan? I never said I'd anything against you. But why did your people take out 4 of our prisoners and shoot them in cold blood?" He took Hawkins by the arm and dragged him on, but it was impossible to make him understand that we were in earnest. I had the Smith & Wesson in my pocket, and I kept fingering it and wondering what I'd do if they put up a fight for it or ran, and wishing to God they would do one or the other. I knew if they did run for it that I'd never fire on them. Hawkins wanted to know, was Noble in it? And when we said yes, he asked me why Noble wanted to plug him. Why did any of us want to plug him? What had he done to us? Weren't we all chums? Didn't we understand him? And didn't he understand us? Did we imagine for an instant that he'd shoot us for all the so-and-so officers in the so-and-so British Army? By this time we'd reached the bog, and I was so sick I couldn't even answer him. We walked along the edge of it in the darkness, and every now and then Hawkins would call a halt and begin all over again, as if he was wound up about our being chums, and I knew that nothing but the sight of the grave would convince him that we had to do it. And all the time I was hoping that something would happen, that they'd run for it, or that Noble would take over the responsibility from me. I had the feeling that it was worse on Noble than on me. End of part 3.